Knossos, my friends, and welcome to my first video from the beautiful country of Greece. I'll be spending about a month here, so we've got lots of great things planned, and I'm super excited to start shooting. We start our journey here on the island of Crete, Greece's largest and most touristed island. Today we're heading to Kanasis, an ancient Minoan city with a mysterious and mythological past, before heading back to see some sights in Crete's largest city, Heraklion. Let's get mythological.
Whew, okay, bus ride done. Canasis explored, but I figure I would tell you the story of Canasis. I'm gonna toss some B-roll over this, and I'm gonna bring you the story of Greece, of the first city of the European civilization. From here, from the Cretan hills, look at this, beautiful field, idyllic, kind of like the origin of man. How crazy is that? It's very, very touristy down there, so I figured it would be best to broadcast the story here. So let's learn about Knossos. So apparently, people have been living in this region since the Neolithic times. We're talking, 6,000 BC, 7,000 BC, really, really old. They found cave paintings, some, rudimentary tools from that era. So there's a lot of ideas that there were certainly people from that time period. They have also carbon dated this area, so it's pretty plausible that people have been here that long. What we're going to talk about today is Knossos. So Knossos is just down in this valley over here, and Knossos was basically the capital city of the Minoan civilization. As many people think, when they think of Greece, they think of the Greeks, the Minoans. And when you go back in the days, before city-states and before everything, we're actually quite different. So there were many different tribes, many different, you can call them groups of people that lived in this area, and they were not necessarily Greeks. So what we would call the standard Greeks are the people from Athens, the Mycenae, which were in a similar time period, but the Minoan were something different. We can tell that they weren't Greek because of the language that they spoke, and here they actually have found, what makes Knossos so cool, is that they've actually found writing, like early scripts and also glyphs that showed that the language itself was quite different than the Mycenaean language of the mainland of Greece. While all of that is cool and good, the story of Knossos is even better because it kind of goes into the mythology of ancient Greece. And here's the story. So there was a famous king named Minos, and he is the namesake of the Minoan civilization. The name was given by by this British archaeologist who basically discovered and uncovered all of this information in the late 1800s here in Greece. Apparently, there were two Minoses. There was the good Minos and the bad Minos. But the good Minos, who is the grandfather, is not remembered nearly as well as the bad Minos. The bad Minos is known as the son of Zeus and Europa. So he was a demigod. It was quite normal in Greek mythology for this to happen, and demigods would walk amongst the earth along with other humans to keep them in check. The people on Crete, the Minoans, were actually quite a strong people, and they had a lot of naval success. There's something called a philosophy. That might be wrong, but basically Crete was the center of a naval empire, and Minos, being the king, the monarch here in Knossos, was basically the man in charge of the region. So basically the Mycenaean people, the story goes, the Mycenaean people killed one of Minos's sons. So as the Cretan Empire expanded and took over many parts of modern mainland Greece, he requested 7 men and 7 women to be brought to Knossos from Mycenae to be offered up to the Minotaur in a labyrinth to feed the Minotaur in order to kind of repay for the death of his son. So yeah, this is where the story gets super strange. Apparently, Minos had an extra son. It was a Minotaur. A Minotaur is a person who is half person on the bottom and half bull on the top. Because a Minotaur is extremely dangerous, Minos decided to build a labyrinth. To build the labyrinth, Minos contracted an architect named Daedalus, who you can find these in the stories, especially of the Iliad and the Odyssey. But Daedalus was a very famous architect and skilled mason that built many different famous things in the ancient, like, Neolithic Greek era. So Daedalus built the Labyrinth, they stuck the Minotaur in it, and then people were getting sacrificed to the Minotaur to please evil King Minos. The cool part of the story for me, because I grew up playing like Age of Mythology, which was this video game about, you know, Greek history and all this other stuff, is that a great hero named Theseus is known for slaying the Minotaur. King Minos had a daughter, a very beautiful daughter named Ariadne. Ariadne fell in love with a hero named Theseus. Apparently, Daedalus, that architect guy, he betrayed King Minos and told Ariadne the secret to the labyrinth, where to find the Minotaur and how to slay it. She then, of course, told Theseus. Theseus killed the Minotaur and stole Ariadne, and they went and lived in a different place. I think the best part of the story for me is King Minos got really angry, and he decided to find Daedalus, the betrayer, and to kill him. So he ends up going to Sicily, the island of Sicily, which, of course, back then was probably not, of course, called Sicily. On this island, he gets captured by the king of Sicily or of Italy or whatever was going on there. And they killed him by submerging him in boiling water. So he was basically cooked. It's like a horrible story. Another thing that goes with this, because Greek mythology is so interconnected, Daedalus had a son. And Daedalus, beyond building the labyrinth for the Minotaur, was famous for building a flying pair of wings that would take him and his son Icarus off of Crete and take them to safety. Icarus, of course, took this, didn't listen, flew too close to the sun, and then fell down and died. So there's like lots of really famous Greek stories that are really important to the mythology. But the cool part is there's actually kind of written testament that King Minos was probably a real guy, and that he actually did rule, and that there was evidence that he had a grandfather named Minos and another father who ruled on this island. So while Greek mythology is ridiculous and betrayal and demigods and all that good stuff, the actual people may have actually been alive. And there were writings from Plutarch and from Homer and these other great Greek kind of background people that they were here and that they actually did these things. So this is close to the time period of the Trojan War, apparently. And Crete was just a really important spot. So in all honesty, the ruins of Knossos, it's okay. Like, it's, you know, it's just ruins. They recreated some of the kind of feeling of it, but it's very, very touristy, and I'm not a big fan of tourist stuff. But what I do like is living history, and with a story like that, how could you not appreciate the absolute wonder that is basically the first European civilization, the first people to kind of, you know, put writing down in the European mindset. And this was thousands of years before any of the rest of Europe was doing anything. And these people were farming, they were writing epics, they had religion, they had so many different things. Crete was known for its amazing pottery, and people would travel all over the world to go to Crete, to trade, to be a part of this great empire. It was this land here where human civilization, as we know it, as the European ideology, was born. And how cool is that? And it's just goddamn beautiful as well. I mean, really couldn't ask for anything better. So now we're gonna walk on this road. We're heading back to the very touristy area. Gonna hop on a bus, and I'll show you guys a little of modern day Herakleion, the largest city in Crete. It's kind of demi-capital and a nice place with some bars, with some cafes. It's not quite that historic, but it's nice. Let's do it! So here we are back in the city center of Herakleion, Irakleia. It's got many names. Got a nice statue of Eleftherios Venizelos. Herakleion has also a really old history. It's a very ancient city, but the most important features of the city are, of course, the modern things, because this is a huge tourist city. This is the second most visited place in Greece, and this is one of the most visited places in Europe, apparently. But for me, what's cool is they have this really historical tie to the Venetian Empire, which was this kind of nautical based empire in the mid 1600s, kind of the Renaissance. and they took over lots of different islands in the Aegean Sea from Venice, so all the way down here to Crete, of course. And so this was an important port for them, and they built these defensive walls all around the city. This is actually, I'm standing on one, it's like a bastion. And down in this region, as you guys can see, there's the water, and then there's an old Venetian fortress that still stands to this day, which I think is genuinely quite interesting. This city certainly isn't the main tourist draw for Crete. A lot of people head to the western coast to a city called Rhythymno and Chania, because this city in Heraclea doesn't have that many old historical buildings. A lot of them were bombed out apparently during World War II. But if you go to the other cities in Crete, you will certainly find older, delightful Greek buildings, Greek style architecture, and that kind of Santorini vibe that everyone loves and enjoys. Heracleion has this kind of old city center. They have these nice buildings. It's not actually that old, and they've got lots of shopping, lots of people sitting, eating, enjoying the day. It's a very active place, which is what I really like about it so far. I would say if you're really into the deep Greek history, this is probably not the place for you. But if you want to come for, you know, like a nice weekend, enjoy some nice food, some souvlaki, and hang around a nice city, Heracleion. So from here in the city center of Heracleion, I want to say thank you guys for watching. We have the beautiful lion fountain and one of the more famous buildings. You know, you got lots of stuff going on here, but if you guys want to come here, I'll let you go do it. So thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you liked the video, you know, and if you didn't, I hope we catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching from Heracleion.